switch on over to see if things are working out. I'm gonna go ahead and do an audio check real quick on myself. Cool. Seems like everything's working. Alrighty. We're gonna go ahead and post. Gonna go ahead and make ourselves a post on Twitter. Let everybody know on Twitter that we are streaming. Alright, so what we're currently looking at, this is the WSV3 radar image here. This is a 2-hour radar loop. You can see this was the issuance of the tornado watch, and then our current warnings. We have 2 active severe warnings and a tornado warning. Tornado warning, radar indicated, non-confirmed. We'll go ahead and also pull up radar scope. That up real quick. Here's our radar scope imagery. This tornado warning is up here near Paris, Morrison Bluff, Scranton, Clarksville. Is this Texas? No, this is in Arkansas. We can see right here where that tornado would be. Right here, pretty much right over Paris. Just east of Coxville, west of Subiaco. I'm sorry, I'm definitely butchering that. So we've got our stream up. Okay. Should be no issues so far. Alright. Trying to check everything, get everything all sorted out before we really get the stream fully going. So obviously right now, Paris, Arkansas, we currently have a tornado warning there. And you can see if I switch over to just the reflectivity, this little notch, this little nub right here, this is where the tornado would be located if there were one. Go ahead and check correlation coefficient, and it looks like right here we may potentially have a tornado on the ground. Let's see. It doesn't match up perfectly with that area of rotation, but to a degree it does. So we'll see. It could potentially be a confirmed tornado there in Paris, Arkansas. Just bear with me while I get everything set up, make sure we're good to go on everything here. We did have a tornado warning down here, which has been allowed to expire. It was on this storm right here near Pineland. Still has a tornado possible severe warning, and we do have rotation here just east of Hempville, Louisiana. And these storms are going to be moving north-northeast as the southerly winds, the winds coming from the Gulf of Mexico, are just rocketing north. You have this massive plume of moisture here that for the last 24 hours or so has just been getting rocketing north from this trough ejection. We'll go ahead and look back up here at this tornado warning near Paris. We don't have any new information currently. So just if you're in Paris or downhill near Morrison Bluff, Hartman, Arkansas, take cover now, please. But that storm does not look like it's threatening for necessarily a long track or destructive tornado at this time, at least at this time. We do have another storm down here which is starting to organize. This is near Mountain Pine Hot Springs Village. You can see the reds and the greens here are starting to coincide. So what our greens indicate here is wind going towards the radar, and red is wind going away from the radar. This is basically an X-ray view of the winds inside of a storm. But nothing crazy happening as of yet right now. We don't really have any major stuff right now going on. No confirmed tornadoes so far. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull up Twitter, which is actually a pretty solid resource to use here, where most people will post live. Reed Timmer making a great point here. The southern mode is very messy, going to be very difficult to chase. As you can see, we have a lot of just scattered messy showers covering the entire area of the warm sector here. Now you do have southeastern Arkansas, which is pretty clean right now, but you're going to get this mess, which is going to end up moving its way north. So in terms of a purely storm chasing perspective, right through here, this is really messy. And I do think that actually back a little bit farther west here into Oklahoma and Texas is where probably the main show is going to end up being. And actually, of course, right as I'm talking about that, I believe, or wait a minute, we got to make sure that that's not that storm I pointed out earlier near Hot Springs Village and Mountain Pine starting to get its act together. You can see this right here, this donut with a hole right in the middle that's called a B-wer, a B-W-E-R. There could be a tornado potentially trying to wrap up. That is definitely a mesocyclone within that storm. You can see red is the winds going away from the radar, green is wind going towards the radar, so we have spin in the atmosphere there. Ooh. From the other radar, the rotation on this actually still looks pretty solid, but the close radar gives us a lower picture into that storm and shows you that it's not really doing much as of right now. So, ooh, yeah, the storm down here near Hot Springs Village. There's most likely will be a tornado warning issued on this one here soon. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up real quick the storm prediction so we can get a look at the latest meso discussion, which just came out. So let's go ahead and pull this up. We'll go ahead and move this around so you guys can see it a little bit better. Here we go. So here it is. The risk of severe storms capable of all hazards, including tornadoes, is increasing. Tornado watch is likely this afternoon for much of the area. So that is the entirety of eastern Oklahoma. That does include, looks like, the Oklahoma City Metro as well. Go ahead and pull this up so you can see. Let's go ahead and turn off our spotter locations. There we go. So basically from OKC everywhere to the east is where this is right now. This does include Joplin, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Paris, Texas, Sherman, Texas, Plano, Texas. All of these locations, oh, well, I have us on the wrong one. All of these locations here, I'll go ahead and highlight it again. It's basically from Joplin through Oklahoma City down to the DFW area. This whole area is likely going to get a tornado watch issued here in the next couple hours as we move more into the nighttime portion of this outbreak, which is actually when this outbreak will likely peak. New tornado warning issued now for Texas. Which storm could that possibly be? Now I think, oh, this one right here. So this was the storm that had the tornado warning issued on it earlier, and it has now reorganized. You can see this storm is going to get a tornado warning too. It has not been issued yet, but it will be just here east of Memphis. This is heading towards Zwol and Many. This is Louisiana. This one is over here near Pineland. So there will be a tornado warning issued on this. It hasn't been issued yet, but oh, it is. Looks like it has just now been issued, actually. It has not popped up on radar scope yet, but you can see this storm is definitely more discreet. It has that classic hook of the supercell that you can see. This one is more of a messy kind of embedded supercell. Right down here at the end of this hook is where a potential tornado would be, and there is the tornado warning that I was talking about would eventually get added. Oh, we actually have two different areas of rotation here. We see one area of rotation down here, one area of rotation here. And if we actually go back, so we see that southern area of rotation was looking really solid, and it looks like that is dying out now, and this more northerly rotation is taking over. And there's still tight rotation here on this storm, just about to go just north of Pineland. No notable cities downhill from this, but if you live north of Hemphill, Huxley, Shelbyville, I believe this one is actually in Texas. This one is in Louisiana. Go ahead and go back up north here, double check this storm, make sure that this storm has not further reorganized like the previous one. There we go. Okay, so nothing super notable on this storm up here near Coal Hill, Arkansas. But definitely still concerned about this storm to the south down here that I was talking about earlier, that had the B word, the BWER on it. I mean, you can see we do have rotation winds moving this direction. That's what the reds and the greens mean. This is like an X-ray graph. You have wind moving this way and then wind moving this way, you know. So this is the area of rotation right here. And yeah, still up here near cold Texas, you have rotation. You can see it. There's glitches in the velocity here, but you have the greens, you have the reds here, but this is rotation pretty high up in the atmosphere. If we move to a closer radar, you can see there's nothing notable here. What you really need to be more so concerned about tornado potential is that tight velocity. You have a pretty broad area of greens right here, a pretty broad area of reds, where you might have minimal rotation. But we'll go ahead and look down south to show you a better example of what tornadic rotation looks like. And that would be this right here. You see the reds and the greens, they come together to a tight area. Same with this one, and this one actually has the white pink colors. That's very strong velocity. That means the wind is flying this way, and you have minimal wind moving back, but still, this thing could potentially put down a tornado. And then what we try to do is we flip over to correlation coefficient over here on the left side of the screen, and we try to see if there's any dark blues, any gray, black values that show up, and they would match up with that area of rotation. So, as of right now, none of these storms is producing a confirmed tornado. But we're just going to keep an eye on them nonetheless. You've got storms here passing pretty close to Little Rock. Ooh, see? This storm near Hot Springs Village. See how the rotation was kind of broad, just like broad area, and then boom, now we have this tight bright green with that red. This thing could be trying to put down a tornado, at least briefly, right here where this brightest green color is. This would probably warrant a tornado warning here pretty soon. Please, anybody, if you're joining, put your comments, questions, concerns in the chat. I'm here to give whatever knowledge I can. By all means, I do not know everything, and I'm no meteorologist, but I've been watching weather, learning about weather since I was a kid, and oh, this is looking more like a confirmed tornado, more and more so. We have very, very strong gate-to-gate shear here, right here, in a really tight fashion. If this did produce a tornado, we would see over here on this left side, let's go ahead and see. So in this circle somewhere, we would see these darker blues, these yellows, in a just kind of a confined area. But definitely, I'm leaning more so to calling that a confirmed. I mean, there's no way to 100% confirm that this is on the ground. But if you live near Minnie, Arkansas, north of Minnie, Arkansas, you should most definitely take cover. I mean, this thing's taking on a classic supercell shape. Just look at this. Look at the hook on that thing. This thing is starting to look more and more so like a classic supercell. And you see, there is this messy mode which is limiting our tornado potential, but this storm down here is relatively discreet. There's not a ton of storms around it. Check our rotation here, yeah, and we do still have pretty minimal tornado potential here, south of Hartman, south of Coal Hill, Arkansas. Right here. Oh, and wait a minute. We have a new tornado warning there near Hot Springs Village. That was the one that I said would likely need a warning issuance pretty soon. And we would need to get an update. Our normal velocity. Okay, we are. Of course, radar scope does not want to give us a velocity update right now. But you can see that this is very streamwise inflow that's flowing into the mesocyclone region of the storm. Anytime you see that like sharp hook shape, it's taking on that more classic shape. Now, the rotation did kind of weaken here, so it's not as strong as it once was. I'm mainly concerned about this storm here, which almost definitely looks like it is probably producing right now. I mean, we have 45 oh my gosh, 90 mile an hour going away from the radar and about 25-30 mile an hour going back toward the radar. And you see where these black pixels are. This is where the tornado would kind of be located, right on where the two of these wind directions combine, which is right here is where the tornado would be located. The rotation out here south of San Augustine. This is back in Texas. We're right on the Texas Louisiana border here. So the rotation out here is kind of weakening. It's pretty broad, weak rotation. You could still have a spin up tornado with this type of rotation, but we don't have that strong, potentially more so the longer track, potentially deadly tornadoes don't really usually happen with velocities like that. Still is possible that you could have a tornado, and any tornado can be life-threatening for the people of whoever is in the path of it. You know, a weak tornado or not, it's going to impact somebody. So even more so, we're looking at just a really, this thing looks more so like it's a gust front rather than you know, a tight area of rotation. I'm trying to find my words here. But the main show has definitely not started yet. We currently have 4 tornado warnings ongoing. Oh my gosh, that's got to be most definitely a tornado on the ground. We can see now, right here, like I said, where these two values meet, right here. I would be extremely, oh, and you see right here where our rotation is. See how these values are starting to show up now? These values right here. This is more than likely debris that's being picked up. I would not be surprised if we saw this receive a confirmed tornado warning. Right now it is radar indicated. Within the next few minutes, I would not be surprised if this thing goes confirmed, especially if we get a little bit more debris on the correlation coefficient, which gives us another X-ray into the storm. Let's see what this thing just looks like on reflectivity. We don't have as much of that classic shape anymore, but you still have this hook right here. So it was looking pretty wicked right here for a second, but now not as much so. But if you live north of Minnie, Louisiana, west of Rabeline, Pleasant Hill, south of Pleasant Hill. You should be taking cover. You should treat this warning as a confirmed tornado. I mean, this right here, where we're getting these black values, where the green meets up with those brighter colors, that is where we more than likely have a tornado on the ground. Obviously, there's no way to 100% confirm it yet. If we get darker values to show up over here on our correlation coefficient, then I would be more than willing to say that this is an active tornado on the ground. Go ahead and check Twitter again, see if double checking Twitter. I am not seeing any confirmation. No confirmations as of yet. Huh. Alright, so no. So far, what I'm seeing, no pictures, no videos of any confirmed tornadoes as of yet. It does look like there was potentially a debris signature near Jesseville, Arkansas, a little bit ago. That was actually this storm, right? Yes, I believe so. We'll run this back. Yes, there was a brief tornado down. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We have our red meets our green right here. And here it was. Tornadic debris being picked up right there. There was a confirmed tornado, or potentially a brief spin up, as I was discussing earlier. Even though the rotation wasn't strong, sometimes all it takes is just 1 second. Boom, that thing can spin up and the tornado can last for, you know, seconds even. We're gonna move back down here. There's a little bit of side lobing with this storm, but overall still very strong. And like I said, you can see these gray, these black values here on the velocity, and that's because this storm's couplet is so strong where the rotation is that it's actually kind of glitching out to some degree. Let's see if our correlation coefficient is still there. I mean, here's our area of rotation. We've got some CC right here, and we'll see that persists. The National Weather Service has put out another mesoscale discussion. We'll go ahead and pull that up real quick. And you can see increasingly favorable corridor for tornadoes this afternoon. Right here, eastern Texas, western Louisiana, a little bit of southern Arkansas. This area right here. And let's check where that area lines up with our current precip. So right now, that is the Texarkana region. And after this precip kind of moves out of the way, we're gonna have a pretty good shot for this region to have tornado potential. We'll go ahead and read this discussion real quick. So, latest radar data from KPOE. Alright, my WSV3 crashed. Shows a large cluster of showers and thunderstorms with organized embedded updrafts and mesocyclones tracking northward. Ahead of this activity, a moist and unstable air mass, mid to upper 60s dews, steepening relapse rates, minimal convective inhibition coupled with a favorable surface-based instability should support the northward spread of these showers and thunderstorms. Increasingly favorable photographs, 150 to 200 meters per second squared, should support a few discrete or semi-discrete supercells capable of producing tornadoes, some possibly strong but mostly brief. Okay, that's actually really good insight there by the Storm Prediction Center to get some possibly strong, but for the most part the tornadoes in this region should be brief. And let's see if our tornado here is still actively. I am almost certain that we did have a brief tornado here that went south of Zool, west of Many, Louisiana. But I do think that it was probably brief, probably relatively weak, as our area of rotation is pretty broad. It's not super tight. It's not a tight area of velocity that you usually would want to see to be confident that tornadoes on the ground. Excuse me. Drinking out of my weather cup there. You see the lightning on the cup? It's my storm chasing cup. We have a new tornado warning issued now, and that's following this storm that's tracking towards just south of Pleasant Hill. As of right now, it does not have a confirmed tornado. It's a radar indicated rotation, but we saw this storm potentially put down a brief, relatively weak tornado. So it could produce a tornado any minute now. We'll go ahead and pull back up Twitter. It seems like a lot of the chasers are kind of following that advice to actually head back up to eastern Oklahoma, eastern Texas, southwestern Arkansas. We were seeing the potential on models earlier on to have kind of discrete supercells forming right here in eastern Arkansas, western Mississippi, right along the delta on a big blob of 70-degree dew points, and that just has not happened. You know, this is something about weather that is truly fascinating to me, is that we're always learning something new. We might think we know something, and you know, sometimes we get proven wrong by Mother Nature. We've had many setups, specifically in the last couple months, that have looked like slam dunk long track tornadoes, and sometimes they just don't produce tornadoes, or they don't produce the long track violent tornadoes that we're necessarily expecting them to. But right now we do have a pretty open area here, which could still see development over the next hour or two of new storms, not to mention the storms down here near Shreveport. These storms are going to gradually move northeastward right up into this just open area here in eastern Arkansas near the Mississippi River Delta. Great terrain there if you're storm chasing. But most people are making their way back to Oklahoma in this area, from DFW all the way up to potentially Tulsa. because that looks like it's going to be the second round, probably more so the main show for today. Let's go ahead and check out this storm on the other radar. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, look at that. Now that is a really tight couplet. You can see blues right next to reds. And that is in a much smaller area, a much smaller zone of rotation. And I wonder if it's just that radar showing that. No, this radar starting to show that too. It looks like this storm is starting to tighten back up as we get the rotation feeding right here where the green and the pink meets. This is where our tornado would be located. We're going to go ahead and check correlation coefficient, and again, we still could have a relatively weak tornado on the ground. For anybody who's watching, both of the images I have up on the screen right now give us an X-ray into the storm. The image on the left lets us see debris and or hail in the storm. The image on the right gives us velocity, so that is our wind speeds within the storm. Our red and pinkish yellowish wind speed is wind moving away from our radar location, and the green is wind moving towards our radar. So obviously where the wind away and the wind moving together meets, that is an area of rotating wind. And then if you have these yellows and these blues and black colors over here on our debris and hail on the left, if that matches up with an area of rotation, a nice circle of rotation, then you could potentially have a tornado on the ground. And now we do see over here some scattered yellows and slightly greens, and that does match up decently well with where our rotation is here on our velocity wind speed. So we could yet again have another tornado touching down here just south of Pleasant Hill, Louisiana, moving directly north of Minnie, Louisiana. Pleasant Hill, you should end up dodging this thing. However, it's gonna go just south of you. It's probably gonna end up passing only a mile or two to the east. And we do have some very high values of gate-to-gate shear here on this. We're looking at 89, almost 90 miles an hour, and then about 25, 30 miles an hour on the other gate. So, a relatively strong couplet. This is the strongest wind velocity values we've seen on any of the storms so far today. And you can see right here, if any of you are familiar at all with supercell thunderstorms or have seen what a storm looks like on radar that produces a tornado, we have the clear slot right here with the hook down the end. And so what this is our inflow flowing into the storm, and then you have your rear flank downdraft pushing rain and other stuff behind. And obviously in here is where you would have a potential tornado. Now, up north here in Arkansas, both of our warnings have expired. So the main show right now is really just this thunderstorm here. We do still have a tornado warning that's going just east of San Augustine, Texas. But you can see what I was talking about with the rotation on the other storm, where it's a very tight, confined circle. There's not really any tight confined circle on this. I mean, you have some greens, you have some reds, but it's in kind of a spread out area, you know. And now this thing could definitely reorganize and potentially produce a tornado in the future. But as of right now, there's nothing really notable going on with this storm here in San Augustine, Texas. But over here, south of Pleasant Hill, Louisiana, oh my goodness. Wow, look at this massive. The inflow cranking into the storm is insane. And we have a B word present now, a BWER. Very subtle, but you can see the yellows continue right here. And then we have this pool of greens right here. That is a BWER, a B word. You have this donut hole, which is where a tornado would be if there were one. Pleasant Hill. I take this back. It might track just through the east side of Pleasant Hill here. I thought this thing was going to end up going maybe a couple miles out this way, but it looks like it has kind of drifted. It's drifted a little north. So Pleasant Hill, Louisiana, you are under the gun right now. You are under the gun. There is a pretty strong velocity heading your way, potentially a confirmed tornado if this thing starts picking up debris, which it looks like it is. Oh, yes. See, right here, our green meets our whites and our reds. And look over here on the left side, right where the green meets the yellow, we have these yellowish colors. This is debris being picked up. I am almost certain that that is a confirmed tornado. Almost certain. Pleasant Hill, you need to be taking cover. You definitely need to be taking cover right now. Anyone, if you have any questions, comments, anything, please type it in the chat. I'm watching the chat. If you want to have, I hate when the green meets the yellow. If you have any questions about where you live or somebody that you know where they live, like by no means am I a meteorologist, but I have been learning about kind of studying weather since I was a kid, really. So I'll do my best to provide any insight I possibly can. But this is a pretty strong velocity right here. I said you've got 80 to 90 mile an hour inflow winds here, and then a good 20 to 30 mile an hour winds on the RFD side of this storm. And right now we do have these supercells need this clear air to be able to be more longer tracked. So right now this storm is kind of struggling with these other storms, but once it absorbs this storm could potentially be long tracked. What got you interested in meteorology? Second. So, what got you interested in meteorology? Well, ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated by weather. And one day, my dad brought home a book which was about tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, and there was specifically the tornadoes part of the book that I absolutely fell in love with. There was this picture of this real skinny rope tornado that was like hitting a barn. And I remember the way that it kind of bent throughout the air. It looked like a snake. And my little kid mind was just fascinated that this thing that is larger than I can conceive of is moving like it's a living organism, but it's really just wind and clouds. And it's I was just fascinated by it. I mean, I couldn't I just couldn't believe it. I was like, this is incredible, you know. And from then on, I've just absolutely loved severe weather, specifically tornadoes. I absolutely love tornadoes. we have kind of lost our our values over here, which indicated debris being lofted. They have kind of gone away, but you do see for a couple scans here we had potentially debris being lofted. I do think that this was on the ground, at least for a short period of time. So like I was saying, these storms kind of need this clear air to the south. And right now, if I go ahead and play this live, you can see there are these little rain showers getting kind of sucked into this main storm. So once this storm absorbs these rain showers and gets this clear air to its south, it's probably going to tighten back up and potentially finally produce a longer track tornado. We still have this this tight, pretty strong area of rotation, and again, you see some of these values in here of potentially debris being lofted up. This could be a relatively broad, weak tornado that is actively on the ground right now. We have no confirmation from the Weather Service. It's just radar indicated rotation as of right now. We'll go ahead and keep our eyes on everything else. We haven't checked up in Arkansas in a minute, so let's go ahead and take a look up here. Our storm that was tornado warned here just west of Little Rock looks to be kind of falling apart. These storms up here are kind of they're killing themselves really, because you have all this precipitation here, and this is kind of soaking up all the energy in the atmosphere. So really these storms are struggling because they're all competing for that energy, and it's just there's just not enough for all of them. There's just too many storms there. We'll go ahead and switch to the different radar and see what this area of rotation looks like. And yeah, you can see it's pretty similar. The green right next to the reds. I mean, this is the hook on this storm. Once this storm can absorb this, and you see it's almost got it absorbed now, absorbing this little rain shower here. Once this storm gets this absorbed, it's probably going to be capable of producing another tornado. Switch back down to this radar. Oh, and we do have a new tornado warning being issued now for Converse, Noble, Huxley. This is right on the Louisiana-Texas border. We can see, just like I've been hammering home about our reds and our greens, this is our gate-to-gate shear, our velocity. This is pretty broad. It's not super tight, not nearly what this one was at one point. It's really fighting with those other storms right now. But this thing could tighten up and produce a tornado here any minute for sure. If this thing just gets tight for one radar scan, it could produce a brief tornado and then already be done. So that's how fast these things go sometimes. Thank you, by the way, Jimbus, for having a little chat interaction. Oh my goodness. Sorry, a friend of mine just sent me the area forecast discussion for tomorrow for Indiana or Indianapolis put out an area forecast discussion. Which there is the potential for some surprise stuff happening. Long-term cold front. Additional thunderstorm late Tuesday evening, Tuesday night as it pushes through Indiana. To a unidirectional shear. Depending on how much warming takes place will determine how much surface instability. While the parameters are there for convection to develop and potentially reach severe levels, there are a few factors going against thunderstorm development. That's low level urgent. Very interesting. So wait. Storms may initially develop as discrete cells in the west, then begin to congeal into a more disorganized cluster of showers and thunderstorms as instability wanes. Damaging winds are a concern with the strongest, with hail being a secondary threat. We'll have to watch surface wind direction, as a more southerly component to surface winds may enhance turning in the lower levels to support a marginal tornado threat. Huh. Yeah, so are there any spotters down here near this Pleasant Hill storm? We've got Brett Adair. Well, now this storm has successfully merged with that rain shower. So I'm wondering if we're going to see this thing kind of reorganize. And we do still have this storm out here to the west, which is tracking up towards Converse, Louisiana. This storm could most definitely tighten. You can see that these storms are starting to get themselves figured out. It was really messy, and now you've kind of got these more dominant cells kind of separating themselves from the pack, and that's sometimes what happens. Oh, you're in Indiana? That's yeah, that was the National Weather Service Indianapolis, or I believe. Let me see. What was it? Yeah, Indianapolis. So there will be the potential for some brief, relatively weak tornadoes there in Indiana tomorrow, but definitely not definitely a very conditional risk. More than likely, you're gonna have just some rain showers, some most likely sub-severe. They probably won't even be severe showers, but I was considering chasing, and the more I look at it, the more I'm looking, the more that I'm looking like, I don't think they're really going to. See if we get anything else. Ashdown, Texas. And the updrafts on these storms down here in Texas are they're beefy, that's for sure. Trying to see if I can find anything else. Some pretty cool structure on some of the storms near Ashdown and New Boston, Texas, but for the most part those storms are elevated. supercell tornado threat continues across north central Arkansas, and a local spatial expansion to the watch could be warranted. Well, let's go ahead and read that. Discussion. Oh, it just came out, so it hasn't actually loaded on the website yet. Well, we'll have to wait one more second to read that. Or here, you know what? Go ahead and flip over. Scroll down. Here it is. Supercell tornado threat continues across north central Arkansas, and a local spatial expansion to the watch could be. It's not there yet. The Storm Prediction Center website is a little primitive. It takes a good 5 minutes sometimes for stuff to load there, so you know. We'll go ahead and patiently await. So you can see this storm now here near Pleasant Hill, which I believe did produce a brief tornado, has weakened, substantially weakened, while this storm down here heading towards Converse is actually starting to get a little bit more tighter on radar. A little bit more tighter, just a little bit tighter on radar. So this storm needs to be watched pretty carefully. It could end up producing here pretty soon. And this storm near Pleasant Hill, it looks like it underwent that merger with that rain shower there. This kind of group of rain showers out in front of it got pulled into it, and it looks like it's actually caused it to weaken pretty severely now. But that doesn't mean this thing can't reorganize. We've actually got storm chaser Brett Adair, Brett at livestormsnow.com. That is his email apparently. Yeah, Brett Adair is out here, and maybe he will post something on Twitter for us to get a view of what this storm potentially looks like in person. This is all we have right now. It's the radar view. So we'll go ahead and pull up something here, which SRR Radar Loops has. And this is the vertical wind profile from KPOE. So the KPOE is right here. That is basically the center of Louisiana right there, south of Simpson. South of Simpson. So this is the vertical wind profile, and this is not necessarily conducive to a long track tornado, but potentially you could have multiple cyclic supercells. So a supercell that produces a tornado, and then that tornado dies off and a new one forms. So yeah, and that's of course KPOE right here. That was where that vertical wind profile was taken from. And here's your two storms that are kind of in the general region of that storm there. Let's see. We are still pretty far removed from the main show, which is going to be showing up here in a couple hours. Well, over the next few hours, as that dry line feature is going to be moving through Oklahoma and Texas later tonight. Could get some strong tornadoes out of those. Ooh, actually, just saw Reed Timmer point this out. Let's go ahead and turn our spotters back off so we can get a little bit cleaner look at this, this radar presentation here. We do have potentially some supercells going up here south of Oklahoma City and one north of Oklahoma City near Stillwater. The cap is slowly starting to erode. What's happening is these storms are like, it's like boiling water, right? And they need to boil over to explode. And right now, there's a lid on the pan that's preventing the water from boiling over. And that cap is slowly getting lighter and lighter. So these storms are about to just blow it off completely. And once they do, these storms are going to go nuts. So we've got some here. We do have some scattered showers down here, which could end up, one of these updrafts could end up becoming a more dominant cell. But this is why. Oh yeah, you're seeing this kind of string of scattered updrafts, literally just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. This is like a classic spring event. This is literally like something you would see in the spring in Oklahoma and Texas. It's crazy. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what, looks like this storm's trying to tighten back up. This is what I was talking about near Pleasant Hill. This storm got a little disorganized, and now it looks like it's going to tighten back up again. Wow, as it's heading towards Coushatta, Edgefield, and Martin. You definitely need to take cover. This is a strong area of gate-to-gate shear. The velocity on this thing. That's velocity values nearing 80 miles an hour on this, matching up with from 10 to 20 mile an hour gate-to-gate shear. So this thing could be producing. We do have I don't know. I would not say that is debris, because the area of these values is pretty displaced from where our tornado should potentially be. That makes me feel as though I can't really trust that right now. But nonetheless, a tight couplet visible. And we do see on this radar now, we have potentially debris being picked up. And yet again, it is just southwest of where the main area of rotation is. And that could be because this storm is a little tilted in the atmosphere. That could be the tornado on the ground right there. What I would watch is actually this congealment of storms here. It looks like this one on the southern end here near Provencal, Rosaline or Robaline. You can see it's starting to get that supercellular shape. Right now it looks like it's more of a gust front as wind is being pushed out of this storm. But you could start to get some higher inflow values here and tighten that up. This thing could easily go supercellular here very, very soon. Tornado warning continues for Lake End, Louisiana. Yeah, they should really issue a new tornado warning for Edgefield, for Coushatta, Hal Summit, Martin, everywhere downfield of this is under the gun right now. They should most definitely issue a new tornado. We very well could have a tornado actively on the ground. I mean, that is pretty strong values there. It is a little weird that it's kind of separated for the most part from where our upper level mesocyclone is. It's a little tilted. But I don't know. I'd be willing to almost call that a confirmed tornado. Almost, not quite. And our storm out here near Converse, Noble, Louisiana, this is going back to more of a gust front type, where yeah, you have rotation here, you have rotation here, but I mean it's so broad. You really need that tight area of rotation, like right here where you have the greens and then the whites, and they mix right here. A new tornado watch is just being issued right now by the National Weather Service. It will be on its way in just a moment. I'll go ahead and pull that up for everybody here as soon as it is out on their website. The looks like looks like there was potentially a tornado on the ground that went through. Where's that at? Yeah, it looks like we're looking at potential tornado damage. Trying to figure out where this went. I am trying to figure out what's going on. Okay. Go ahead and pull this up just momentarily. We can see here this is damage at a school. Yeah, Jesseville, Arkansas. So that was our storm earlier today. Go ahead and flip back and give you an idea of where that was. That was here just west of Little Rock, Arkansas. That was this kind of mess over here that went through. Yeah, kind of west. I think near Hot Springs Village out here, I believe is where Jesseville is. That is not good if that is the case, though. Jesseville Band Building, that's most certainly looks like tornadic damage. Credit to Don Pierce here on Twitter. Oh wow, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Ben Williams just posted absolutely clear skies. And storms are getting going now in Oklahoma, just like that storm that I talked about there. Oh wait, that storm is riding a boundary. Look at the this is Andrew Griffiths, the Central Illinois WX on Twitter. A great person to follow if you like weather. You can see we have these maybe southwesterly winds here, and then you do have these winds with a southeast and an easterly component, which is causing these storms to fire. What you get is these converging winds, and that is a confluence line or a boundary which is causing that. Great knowledge there from Andrew Griffiths, and that's where this storm is, up here near Stillwater. That is not a new tornado watch, but a new tornado watch. So El Dorado, this is again near Jessieville. Trees down, trampolines flipped over. What looks like potentially a tornado did go through here. I'd be willing to say that yes, it did. Yes, a tornado did go through there. All right, we'll go ahead and flip back to the radar. That way I don't accidentally... That way I don't accidentally show somebody's content without... giving them their due diligence. Wow. Yep, it looks like Oklahoma is starting to open up at this point now. Let's go ahead and go out here to the KTLX. This is the Norman, Oklahoma radar, and you can see up there near Pawnee, heading up towards Kansas, we've got a pretty discreet supercell initiating up there. We do have some more showers and updrafts trying to dominate here. Okama, Tecumseh, Shawnee, and then all the way down here into Texas as well, near the just northeast of the DFW Metroplex here near McKinney, Texas. We have a string of updrafts, which I said these storms will likely become surface based over time, and this is more so where the main show is going to show up. Wow, just east of Shreveport here. Oh, and that cell down there near Proven Cal. Wow, and this cell here near Edgefield. This tight rotation here, everybody. Tight rotation. We could have potentially... we had a tornado on the ground at one point with that storm. It looks like right now we don't really have one. At least not one that we can confirm via radar. Let's go ahead and turn on spotter location, see if anybody's out here. Well, we have Brett Adair. Gary Hill is up here in Castor. This cell here near Proven Cal that's heading towards Clarence. This storm, in my opinion, is going to be the storm that's going to have the best chance for a longer track tornado, at least out of the storms that are down here. I mean, this thing has completely open air to the south. It needs a little bit more time to get that low-level mesocyclone developed, but we can see it's already starting to develop a low-level mesocyclone. We have strong inflow, very weak RFD, very weak outflow here, but it's trying to do it. And this storm right here still has a strong mesocyclone, although not as impressive as it once was before it underwent that storm merger. Gotta keep an eye on these storms here heading towards Shreveport. Nothing yet. Keep an eye on these storms here that are initiating now. Tulsa. Man, everybody who went up to Oklahoma, I think you made the right play. Oh, a new tornado watch. New tornado watch being issued now specifically for Oklahoma for all these new showers which are currently developing. I'll go ahead and pull that up for everyone. There it is. There it is. Here is the current tornado watch. Go ahead and move this up just so you can see. So it is not loaded on the website yet, but here it is. National Weather Service Storm Prediction Center has the tornado watch here. A few tornadoes likely, with a couple intense tornadoes possible. So these stronger end tornadoes are still possible. And yet again, this is what I was talking about, from Wichita, Kansas to Joplin, Missouri, all the way down here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It covers this entire area. Let's go ahead and see if we can get the watch to load. There we go. Now it's loaded. So here is the watch. We can see a moderate risk for tornadoes, moderate risk for EF2 plus tornadoes. It's 60% over 40%. I'm pretty sure that is exactly what the one earlier. So thunderstorms will intensify rapidly this afternoon over eastern Oklahoma and southeast Kansas. These storms will pose a risk of large hail damaging winds and a few tornadoes. Activity will spread eastward. Okay, so a pretty simple summary here. Just know that a couple intense, so a couple stronger tornadoes are definitely possible with this this activity. Go ahead and flip back to the radar here. Yeah, the dry line is going absolutely insane right now. Yeah, look at these storms just fire. Man, that storm there near Pawnee is really topped out and exploded really fast. Yeah, we could potentially have some long trackers with this, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and pull back to Louisiana, check our active tornado warnings. And we do still have, moving here through Edgefield and Martin, this active area of rotation. A relatively broad mesocyclone on this storm. But nonetheless, it has the potential to produce a tornado. And actually, what I'm more concerned about is this storm down here that's heading towards Clarence and Camp D, Louisiana. This storm is starting to really get organized. I would be concerned about this storm having potentially more longer track potential, as it's south and east of the rest of the ongoing storms here. So it doesn't have really, as of right now, any competing storms out here. Now, you do have some light rain showers, and I bet you this severe thunderstorm warning has tornado possible, and it does right there. As you can see right there on the warning, tornado possible. My head is blocking it. Let me move it over here. There it is. Tornado possible. So there will be a tornado warning issued on this if it tightens. Wow, the storm near Pawnee has just absolutely exploded. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a smaller tornado watch issued here that covered Dallas through Texarkana, because there will most definitely be a chance for tornadoes off of these storms here and any storms that form farther south of it as they move northeast. They're going to move kind of directly northeast, maybe northeast. I would not be surprised. And some of these cells over here are going to have the potential to produce longer track tornadoes as well. There it is. There it is. The storm that I have been talking about for the last half hour now. First off, we have regained tight rotation here near Martin. There could be another tornado being produced here near Martin. And down south here near Nanchit. I can't pronounce that. Near Campty and Clarence, Louisiana. The very tight rotation. I've been talking about this specific storm now for a long time. It's been a while since you've done live coverage. Yeah, it has. A couple months, at least. I have been pretty busy with college and stuff, so. So this storm right here near Clarence and Campty, this thing could produce a significant tornado. This thing could, it might actively be right now. Let's switch to the other radar, see what this thing looks like. It's not looking as good on the other radar, but you still have very, very tight rotation. There's almost certainly this thing is going to be producing a tornado. And tornado warning issued on this supercell here near Clarence and Campty. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing actively has a tornado on the ground. I mean, this is one of the most. I need to. I'm hearing myself double right now. I don't need. Okay, so this storm moving out of moving towards Clarence and Campty, Louisiana. Pretty significant velocity on this storm. Actually, probably one of the most impressive velocity couplets that we've personally seen all day. Jeff Petrowski just did an infield update. He is tracking towards these storms, which are currently unzipping along the dry line or confluence line ahead of the dry line right now. And he believes that these cells, which are going to form all the way down towards Waco along this line, that as these cells move off towards Texarkana and north, I mean, the lower level jet is going to ramp up as we go into the evening hours. So over the next 3 hours, these storms are going to do nothing but intensify from Fort Smith to Paris to Texarkana to Little Rock. This area could be expecting some potentially strong to violent tornadoes, and probably as far north as up to Joplin. I'd be willing to say Joplin, just east of Norman, to DFW to Texarkana to Little Rock. This whole area should be expecting potentially strong tornadoes as we move into the evening hours. Probably the maximum severe threat is going to be occurring in the next 2 to 3 hours now. So there's definitely a concerning situation evolving here, and I'm definitely going to be keeping my eyes on all of these cells that are maturing here coming out of Oklahoma and out of the DFW area. And this is not loading right. But this storm here near Fairfax, Oklahoma, this storm's gonna move off into Kansas, and this thing's kind of closer to the Triple Point area, so it could do, you know, some funny things. But more than likely, I do agree with Jeff Petrowski that the potential long track tornadoes are going to occur down here from the DFW Metroplex into Texarkana, Little Rock, probably as far north as Joplin, Tulsa. This whole area, I mean, you've got that strong low-level jet here from Shreveport to Springfield, and once these storms that are initiating on this line here, once these storms move into that strong low-level jet, they're going to be able to produce tornadoes. I mean, almost without a doubt, they're going to be able to produce tornadoes. So, yeah, and you can see all these little competing updrafts active right here. These should start to form more semi-discrete cells as they start to get organized. Here on our storm, we've been monitoring almost all day. Oh man, and we can see pretty tight area of rotation here. Not as tight as it once was, even just about 10 minutes ago, but still pretty tight couplet area. And that thing is going to be tracking directly in between Clarence and Campty, Louisiana. This thing should only strengthen. I don't see a way that this thing weakens unless we get some storm coverage out here that it ends up ingesting and killing the storm. But we right now currently have clear air to the south of this thing. It should be able to finally undergo its final cell interactions and then break off from the rest of this blob and start to go tornado crazy, more or less. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing potentially put down at least a long track mesocyclone, but cyclic tornado producer. So it'll likely have a tornado down, and then it might cycle another tornado cycle. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and check Twitter for us, and was there actually did my own stream cut off? Oh, no, we're okay. Oh, Brett Adair. Okay. Okay, so that's that. Go ahead. This we are looking at. Go back. I'm sorry, everyone. I'm just currently checking Twitter, checking Storm Prediction Center, and making sure that there's no updates that we're missing out on. Anybody who's just now tuning in, near Clarence, Louisiana, we have a pretty tight area of rotation visible. And also back here near Pleasant Hill, we have a storm that does have a history of producing tornadoes. And right now it's pretty broad area of rotation. But this thing could tighten at any minute, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. This one is definitely the main concern, though, tracking just north of Clarence, heading towards Goldana. Let's look at the things, the towns downstream. Goldana, Saline or Saline, Jonesboro, Louisiana, not Jonesboro, Arkansas. The last one you covered in Chicagoland went right through my neighborhood in Woodridge. Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was during the big Midwest derecho that happened. Tracked right through Ohio here. And those storms that fired in Chicago were kind of more so surprises, actually. Had lots of damage. Yeah, yeah. That day produced a lot of damage. A very long-lived storm system. Especially the derecho here. It did a lot more damage locally than I initially anticipated it to. Actually, Woodridge, Ohio here had trees down for miles on it. For miles. I couldn't believe it. So, just to reiterate, we are actively watching as this front or the confluence, maybe a little bit of both. Here is our frontal line. Here's potentially our confluence line. We're potentially going to have cells firing on both of these, and these will be the storms that will be capable of producing more long track, especially the cells that are firing down here near from Waco to McKinney. As these move northeast, they're going to track towards Little Rock, Joplin, Tulsa, and then through Texarkana. And this whole region, I'll go ahead and highlight it again, from Little Rock through Joplin, through Tulsa, and then through Texarkana. This whole region right here is where the strong tornado potential is. Right here, in my opinion. Then you also have this one discrete supercell down here, which is kind of going nuts compared to everything else that's down here. This storm has it has a very high ceiling. This storm could go on to produce a long track tornado. So this is the one that we'll be needing to keep an eye at for the most part. Go ahead and check. I believe we just got another radar update here, and I'll tell you everyone here the reasoning that I believe Sorry about that. I was just reading something. The reason I believe that this will be potentially a long track cyclic supercell is because look at what is out in front of this storm. A whole bunch of nothing. And for storms to potentially produce tornadoes, that is exactly what you need. You need this clear air. And oh man, we have very tight rotation now. I would not be surprised if this thing's going to be producing a tornado. Producing a tornado here soon. This is probably the most impressive velocity couplet that we've seen today, and this storm, it's got that that more classic look to it. This thing could become much more of a long track tornado, and that is strong, tight rotation, 70, 80 miles an hour, meeting up with 20 miles an hour on the gate to gate shear. Yeah. This thing, I think it still has to organize a little bit more. However, this thing has the potential to produce a long track tornado for sure, more than certainly. Um, Go ahead and see. We'll go ahead and just leave this image up for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and check the Twitter sphere, see if I can find anything. So the Jesseville football field in Arkansas, the Jesseville school, confirmed tornado near Pleasant Hill. There was a confirmed tornado. My audio messing up a little bit? Hello? Yeah, it is messing up. Dang, come on. What's going on here? Audio bitrate 160. Huh. Not quite sure why my audio is having such issues. Really? Because my microphone sounds like it's cutting out like quite a bit. Yeah. I keep getting warning things about the stream's audio. Yep. We might have to turn the stream off. Hmm. Is there any rain and thunder? I'm from Conneaut, Ohio right now. It's funny here. Um, my, oh my gosh, what is my audio is just all jacked up. What is going on? What is going on with the audio? I've never had this happen before. Oh my gosh, and our storm is going crazy. Okay, is it just me? Is my audio fine or is it see. Hello, 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 hello. Maybe it is all right. Huh, maybe it was just my stream that I had going. Okay, well, we have a very tight couplet here. Here near Goldana, Louisiana. This is a very, very strong area of rotation. This thing could put down a strong tornado. Correlation coefficient does not want to load. Yeah. It's still a little disorganized. As you can see, it's not like a tight like area right now. But give it time. This thing can most definitely produce a longer track, that's for sure. And we still have the main sort of show that's going to be happening into the nighttime hours as these cells are unzipping. But I can't find any that are currently dominant cells. Gonna go ahead and look for any updates. Got it. Oh, okay. Wow, the photographs are just insane. Like I said, one of these cells is going to become the dominant one. Double checking to make sure all the audio is still good. Sounds like we're still good. And we're still watching these cells here. A lot of lightning being put down here near Burbank, Oklahoma, as this cell moves into Kansas. And then these newer cells that are forming down here, moving out of Texas and into Oklahoma. Now 2 tornado warnings here on this one storm. Actually an embedded supercell on the northern end on the forward flank of this main supercell. What? That is insane. This is classic Dixie Alley stuff right here. The rotation near Goldana is, look at that inflow region just flowing in, and you see you do have a little bit of contamination here. These storms are moving in, and that's what's holding this storm back. If this storm could get that clear air again, it's gonna produce a long track tornado almost certainly. Here. Ooh, man. See if we have any more development here. No more new development south towards Waco. I mean, we do have some scattered showers here from College Station to Tyler, Texas. But most definitely, I think the main show is probably gonna be, these storms aren't gonna have, in my opinion, the potential for long track. It's got to be something that comes from farther south and then moves into the Texarkana region. see. Man. Either of these could be actively producing a tornado right now as we speak. Nothing. Let's see. Okay. Do we have any storm chasers here that are close? We have one up there. East of Lucky. There's Brett Adair. He's still following this. Now, actually, this storm down here near Goldana, because it's absorbing this kind of crap vection, we call it, on its southeastern flank, it's not looking nearly as good. But this one is already an embedded area of rotation, and this could be potentially producing a tornado where you've got that velocity coming in on the forward flank, and then your RFD wind actually is meeting up with it. This is kind of an interesting position to have a velocity couplet visible, but it most definitely is a velocity couplet, that is. Mm-hmm. Mm. Okay. Anybody who's just now tuning in, we are still watching what is two active mesocyclones, at least, potentially one tornado actively on the ground. Just here east of Lucky, Louisiana, where we can see this is our inflow region flowing into the storm, and here is our RFD. And where the two of these meet is where potentially our tornado would be occurring. And right now we're not really seeing anything in terms of debris being lofted. And down here near Goldana, here is our inflow region, here's our outflow region. This is a really broad area of rotation right now, but this thing could tighten up any minute now and end up producing what, in my opinion, this thing would be capable of producing a relatively strong and or long track tornado. As of right now, no new nice base on the cell. Trying to check Twitter, see if there's any updates. We've got Looks like the Ridge Riders are down there in Louisiana. Johnson is in Austin, Louisiana. Uh, really, still no updates as of right now. I gotta head off for dinner. I gotta eat. Gotta get a little, oh, little, relaxed. I've been on the stream now. It's not that long. Yeah, as we move into nighttime, though, it's gonna get serious. Um, I'll go ahead and pull up WSV3. That way we can leave everybody with something while I am off to eat. Everybody, please heed your warnings. Please stay safe. On WSV3, the hot pink. The hot pink. So here, the hot pink colors. These are the tornado warnings. The other polygons are the severe warnings. I could just turn off severe and we'll just tornado. That storm up there near Bartles starting to, looks like it's starting to hook. Oh my goodness, Goldana. Okay, real quickly before I go. This storm near Goldana, this is what I've been talking about for a long time. This is the one that has the potential to produce a long track, potentially violent tornado here near Goldana. Like I had said, this thing started to gust front out, but it could reorganize any minute. It just reorganized. This thing might be producing a tornado right now. This right here is the best a velocity couplet has looked the entire day. That is most likely, if not actively producing a tornado, going to be producing a tornado. Jonesboro, Louisiana, Hodge, and Quitman, Louisiana. This is the strongest velocity couplet we've had all day. Now, real quickly, I wanted to hop over to that storm up there in Oklahoma and just wanted to see what it looks like, because it looked like it was starting to hook, but not really. We do have a little bit of a mesocyclone trying to develop there, but overall, nothing much, nothing super notable yet on any of these cells out here. Just that cell down there near Goldana, which is absolutely going crazy. I can't believe. Oh my gosh, that's the strongest couplet I've seen out of any of the storms today. It's unreal. All right. Everybody, I will be right back. Please, please, everybody, stay safe out there. Heed your warning, because that's going to be very important today. Is just listen.